And so, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this interview with the St Vincent de Paul Society, hopefully going on the well of hope. Today, I am, again, absolutely delighted to be joined by two people. It's such a privilege doing this. So today, I am joined by Emma Bell, who is the Fundraising and Volunteers Coordinator up in our Blackfriars Centre, and by Rebecca Stevenson-Read, who is our Blackfriars Centre Coordinator. And it's a great privilege even, to have you both with us today. So thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So how are you both? Are we doing okay at the moment? Are you enjoying this lovely period of isolation?
It's really good. The sun's shining, so for me, it's good. If the rain was here, I would be really disappointed because I would feel like I was even more locked up. But we're doing good.
Yes, I think we're getting through it, and it's been really nice. We've been having weekly Zoom calls with our team. We keep in touch with our team anyway, but Kate Nightingale has been in touch with us regularly, so we have a Zoom call, and we've only just now started talking about the potential of going back, which has all just made us feel energized and better about things.
That's it. So the sun's out. There's good news. It's all good. Happy days. Well, that's lovely. It's what we like to hear. So if Emma, so starting with yourself, if I could ask you to introduce yourself to everyone, tell us a little bit about your involvement with the SVP. Basically, just tell us what you like. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah. Thank you. So my name is Emma Bell, and I am the volunteer coordinator and fundraiser at Blackfriars. I have worked for SVP for quite a few years on and off. Used to run one of the community shops in Reckington, left to have my family and came back to volunteer. And then I became into the role of Blackfriars and been there for about 2 years. I kind of always been pulled back to SVP because I very much believe in everything that they stand for, the values. So I feel as if it's always something in somewhere that I've always kind of been called to be. So I do absolutely love working for SVP. At one point, my husband had leukemia a few years back, and SVP helped me. Some members locally really helped us at a time when I was kind of needed it. So I think it's always left a little bit of a special little bond for me as well, working for SVP. So yeah.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear as well that, I suppose this relationship does go two ways. You're not just working, it's become sort of your life, doesn't it? That's wonderful to hear. Thank you. Yeah. So Rebecca, if I could ask you to also introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your involvement with the SVP as well, that'd be wonderful.
Of course. Well, my background before I came to the SVP was in arts and heritage. So the SVP is really quite a departure for me. And I've been in post now for just over a year, and I absolutely love it. No 2 days are the same. We get to work with some really amazing people. The team at Blackfriars are really committed, very tight, close team that work well together. And I just love the ethos of the SVP. I just feel that it's a charity that doesn't bang the drum enough about what it does, because it does some amazing things. And its commitment to helping people is absolutely, it's non-negotiable. It underlines everything that they do. So I find it a real privilege to work for the charity.
That's wonderful. No, well, I always find the secret society, we're almost, giving the MI6 run for their money, I think sometimes.
Absolutely.
But we get there. I think part of what we're doing here is getting the word out a little bit, I guess. So you've got to start somewhere. Yeah. So I think Emma, we know both of you have been doing some absolutely wonderful work while you've unfortunately had to be furloughed with Tyne Central Council. And it's that work that we really want to tell members about today. So is there any chance, Emma, you could give us a little bit of an overview about what you've been doing, especially with Tyne Central Council over the past month? That'd be great.
I mean, Blackfriars has a really, really good connection with our Tyne Central Council. They are fantastic supporters of everything that we do, and when we decided to with Kate, who decided to furlough us from work, we knew as a team it was something that needed to be done, and we were happy kind of to do that. And we came home, and myself and Rebecca spoke, and we were just like, well, what can we still do? So we spoke to the members and we said, look, we still want to support people. We know that a lot of our members are self-isolating due to age or health conditions, and we really didn't want people within, Tyne Central Council to not get the support if they needed it. So we spoke to John, who is Tyne Central Council's president, and we kind of all thought, what can we do? And we decided to put Tyne Central support group together, and basically myself and Rebecca pick up any inquiries coming in. So we set up an email address, we have a contact number, and we shared that with other organisations who we do support quite regular at Blackfriars. And because we weren't able to support them people, we were a little bit, what are they going to do? Where will they get the support from? And it was great that we could still use our skills, our knowledge to be able to still take phone calls and be able to provide that support to people who actually still needed it. So we've been working really closely with them, and we have been doing food parcels. We've been working and getting Iceland deliveries to people, to families. We have been working with clothing. We've had requests for household goods. We have done a bit of everything. Whatever requests come in, we work together. I can take calls, Rebecca does emails, and we're just a little bit of a team. And we're encouraging, members to kind of get involved as well. Because even if you're at home, I mean, I'm pretty much, we're all at home now, and my husband's self-isolating for 12 weeks, so he's been told to stay in. So we're pretty much doing it as a team, so we're not making him feel like he's getting left out and we can't go for a walk. So we're doing everything at home, and so it's just knowing that with our members here in Tyne, and probably members all over, there's still so much that you can do from home to support people, and that's what we're really trying to do every day. And every day we get a new request, a new challenge, and it's just fantastic that we've got our members here in Tyne that are giving us so much to support and funds to be able to support these people.
That's wonderful, especially whenever you're doing it all completely from home, because so many people have seen this isolation as a lockdown, as a lockdown on everything, and a lockdown on the charity aspect in some ways as well. And so it's fantastic to hear that actually it's completely doable, completely from the comfort of your home. I think go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, we've also, when SVP nationally decided to set up the knock and drop for volunteers to get signed up, it was something really good for us, because we already have quite a lot of younger volunteers who volunteer at Blackfriars or who support us. So straight away, they were just like, what can we do? We can't do our everyday volunteering. So it's been really good that we've got people within different areas. So we kind of have been working with them, and they will go make up a food parcel and they'll deliver it doing the knock and drop service. So we kind of just make sure that we are there to support them, we're there to kind of guide what's needed, and also, pass on the addresses and all of that. So everything's done safely in the right way. But it's great because you just couldn't do it without the support of volunteers and members.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, we were speaking to someone else a couple of days ago, and we were talking about how it's all about filling the gaps, and how we've got these council hubs that have been created, but even this government support is limited and isn't getting out to everyone that's needed, and eventually it's going to go. It's not going to be there forever, and actually, so in some ways what we're doing is not more important, but it's essential. We need to continue doing what we're doing. We need to continue finding the gaps and doing the small things, and very much letting people know that we're still here and that we're still helping. So it's wonderful. No, it's wonderful to hear. So brilliant. So we'll move on now, if that's okay. Rebecca, Is there any chance I can ask you if anything stuck out in particular while you've been doing this wonderful work? If you've found any issues or experiences that are particularly stuck out, or maybe there's stories that you'd like to share with us, just help us understand how much of an impact that this has been having.
Of course. Well, I mean, what's been really interesting is that a lot of the agencies that refer to us, like Bernardo's or Keyring, who support people to live independently, it's quite apparent that their ability to support has limitations, and sometimes they're not able to buy things that people need in an emergency. So for instance, we found ourselves last week having to buy a bed for a gentleman who was, very poorly. He had just come out of quite serious mental crisis, and he desperately needed a new bed. So we bought him bedding and that sort of thing. And it's great that Tyne Central Council make funds available, so we don't have to go through a long-winded bureaucratic process. It's really simple. Emma tends to buy things on her card, and then straight away Tyne Central Council refund it, which is great. So it's been really agile in that sense. But there are definitely limitations in what other charities can do. And, as you said, I think the SVP, because we're going to be here long term, we will be here to pick up when those other agencies like the council response to COVID, when they're no longer available. But this week we ended up having to buy 7 sets of clothing for 7 young asylum seekers, because of course there's no ability for people to go out to the shops. They don't have any money at the moment, so it was really nice to be able to do that and know that was giving someone a bit of a spring in their step as well. But there's been lots of stories where people have thanked us. They feel that we've helped out in an emergency, because for a lot of people this is an emergency. And we know from research that the Trestle Trust has done that during the last 2 weeks of March, the use of food banks actually increased by 81%. So this is only going to get, the longer the lockdown goes on, the more difficult people's situations will be, which is why, we've started planning for when we go back to the centre, how we can best respond, what we'll need to put in place. Because, when the lockdown ends isn't when our work will end. I think it will only ramp up and increase, sadly. But, it's great that we've had the support of members. We've had the support of each other. I couldn't do this without Emma. She's a great support to me. And Tyne Central Council have been absolutely legendary as well. So it's really been encouraging and quite inspiring to see how people have pulled together.
No, that is wonderful, and it's odd actually. I've heard of food banks closed when all this started, and they were forced to close because of the proximity of their of the warehouses or whatever they were working. But as you say, the need has just increased.
Absolutely. And I think it's a bit like what's happened with the NHS, where people have stopped going to hospital and to A&E. Does that mean that people are no longer ill? No, it doesn't. It just means that they feel that their needs are less important at the moment. And it's almost the same that's happening with food bank use, I think, as well.
We were speaking to a paramedic yesterday, and she was saying that actually the number of calls they have going on the trucks, to the beginning it was much more, but now it's much less. It's actually less than it is normally, because she said people don't want to come to hospital, because number one, because maybe it is because they think their need isn't as great, but I think it's also because they don't want to go near, they don't want to go near what's going on.
People are genuinely frightened, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's really weird. All these things that are coming out that I just did not expect. At all. So it is really interesting. But yeah, it's great stuff. And lovely story as well. Lovely story.
Mm-hmm.
So Emma, we'll come back to you. Next in the firing line. So Do you have any advice for, say, members or other conferences or even central councils who might want to get involved in either similar projects or just start something new, or just develop what they've already got? Actually, is there any advice you'd have?
Yeah. I think for us, when we kind of decided to give our time and volunteer and support with the members, our members here in Tyne are, a lot of them aren't using internet, so keeping in touch with them is still very much, they have meetings, they speak to each other there, and all the information is shared. And I think what we've spoke about before is that a lot of our members and conferences and districts do absolutely amazing work, and we just don't shout about it enough, and we definitely need to shout about it more. So for me, one of the main things when we kind of started supporting Tyne was to say to them, more people need to know about the work that is being done by the members, by the volunteers. So I kind of set them up a Twitter page and a Facebook page, which is great because, they're seeing that and they're seeing the difference that it's made. We put on a Just Giving link, and I think we've just raised over £1,000, which is what we wanted. So people are donating, and people really do want to give. And when they get to see the fantastic work that the members and volunteers are doing, they want to give to that. That is what they want to support. So for me, I think we definitely, districts and conferences and members definitely have to shout out a lot more about the amazing work that they do, and should be all very proud of everything that they do as well, because us as staff, we are so proud of all of our members for everything that they do, because they are the ones who, help us to be able to do the work that we do. So definitely have to shout out a lot more.
That's really good advice actually as well, because a lot of the conferences that we're finding are either struggling to get referrals or have set up complex, mechanisms to support people, and then they're just not getting any calls. So a lot of setting up telephone befriending services with loads of volunteers from the parish, and then just not getting any calls. And I think actually it's because nobody knows they're there. So they've been sending out emails by the parish, by this, by that. But that's a great bit of advice. That start getting on social media, start really just getting the word out in whatever way it is. And what we're seeing a lot of actually is word of mouth is the absolute way of doing these things. If you want people don't like to come forward by themselves, but someone will offer that, or they'll say, oh, I've got a friend who needs this. And so it's not even, maybe the person that you reach doesn't need help, but they know somebody does. So yeah, that's really good advice actually.
And we have a fantastic team within National who are really skilled in, offering any advice to how to get everybody started. And to be honest, I know a lot of our members up here, it's normally the grandchildren or family that will show grandma, granddad, or, this is how you do it and this is how you can do it. But I think at the minute with us, with everybody in lockdown, it's how do we keep in touch with families? And I know so many of us are using, FaceTimes, Zoom, all of that, so we can keep in touch. So I have no doubt there's probably a lot of people, members, staff out there who have never used it before, who are going to be skilled at the end of this and using the internet.
We're forced on social media. Oh, been resisting all these years.
Yeah.
So Spotter, so to wrap up, we've been asking all the interviewees this question, and so it's do you have a message or anything you want to say to people out there that are perhaps starting to lose hope? So it can be anything. We've had things like just find a bit of quiet time. We've also had people saying actually go and find friends, get back in touch with those friends you haven't seen in years. So is there any advice you would give to people out there who are losing hope? So Rebecca, if you've got anything.
Of course. I would say that what we've seen throughout this period is the importance of kindness and connections. And we can't, and as human beings, we can't underestimate the importance of being in touch with people and caring about people. And that's going to increase once the lockdown's over, because, you know, we're in, unfortunately, we're in a different kind of world now, and it's probably going to last a while, and we're going to need to be patient and look out for each other. So my message would be that even if you feel frustrated because you're locked in at home, and perhaps, you know, you're having to self-isolate because you're in a vulnerable group, don't feel that you're missing out, because you'll be able to make a difference once we get back to normal. You know, and we'll be counting on you, and it'll be brilliant to see everyone back.
Brilliant. No, kindness, that's a lovely message. Emma, anything you want to add?
I mean, I just have to say, because, you know, being at home with 3 girls and homeschooling can be challenging. It is challenging.
To say the least.
There's so many of us out there, like people like me, doing the same thing, you know, juggling time to help and support people, you know, maybe going to look after family, and then homeschooling children, as well as thinking about cooking and everything else. And I think you just have to find time for yourself as well. And I definitely think, you know, just having a little bit of time, if you can go for a walk, go for a walk. If you can pick up the phone and just talk to somebody, talk to a friend, it just really does make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's very true. And we're hearing that more often as well, and it's, you know, it is a great thing as well. It's almost as though we've said this before as well. It's almost as though accept the isolation rather than fight it, and then it becomes a blessing rather than a curse. And you're able to sort of use what is happening at the moment almost to your advantage. And bring it to sort of enrich your life rather than separating it from all the things that you thought you needed before. It's now a perfect opportunity to take stock and to just, yeah, as you say, find time for yourself. It's a blessing, I'm sure, somehow. There's always a silver lining. Fingers crossed, anyway. I won't be saying that if we're still in this in a year's time, I will admit. But...
Yes.
So yeah, well, thank you very much, both of you. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you both. For you guys to give me your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will, and please thank you for the work that you're doing, and please keep going. That's what we can say. And it is really wonderful, and I know it will mean a lot to people that are receiving these food packages. We've been speaking to some of the beneficiaries that have been receiving things, and they say it couldn't mean more, especially at a time like this, when it you know, it is scary to leave your home and there is all this risk. You know, it means so much to some of these beneficiaries. So thank you, really, really big thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll say goodbye to Emma and Rebecca now. Thank you very much. But whether you've found this interview through either YouTube or the Well of Hope, please do continue to enjoy some of the other videos and the resources on here that we've created. And if you find that you're interested in the work of the St Vincent de Paul Society and would perhaps like to get involved, then please do take a closer look at our website, and in particular at the moment at our crisis page. If you feel like you would also like to donate, then you can also do that through the website, or you can just give us a telephone call. Please know that at the moment you are all in our thoughts and prayers, and we ask that you keep us, and especially frontline workers and people that are doing such wonderful work like Emma and Rebecca here, also in your prayers. But we wish you every blessing in whatever you're doing with your day-to-day and with dealing with this virus. So we'll leave you there. Thank you very much.